You know, Karl Kani, we are the originators of streetwear fashion. We embrace the culture of music when no one other designer wanted to embrace the culture. We understood where we came from, and we was able to relate to all the artists that were coming up at the same time and give them a style of clothing that they understood. We gave them a fit that they liked, and we was able to relate to them and use them in clothing advertisements and to open the doors up for so many other young people who aspire to be in fashion. That was always our goal and our spirit. When we started the brand, it was never about no color or anything like that. It was about the spirit and what Kani stood for. And as you know, I'm not sure if you do know what Kani, how I came up with the name Kani. Well, Kani now is my legal name, Karl Kani, but Kani was a question I used to ask myself all the time. Can I be successful? Can I come from the inner city and build a clothing brand that's going to transcend time and become international? And I knew if I put that as part of my name, every day it has to be an everyday hustle. Yes, I can. Yes, you can. Yes, you all can. So it's just a positive reinforcement name to inspire people to go out there and do their things and take no for an answer, and take failure is not an option. You're going to go out there and make things happen no matter what. And that's the attitude that we built the brand off of. All these things that happen for us happen organically. All the artists that we dealt with back then was no paid endorsements. We sat down with each artist and we created a style for them, and they embraced the style. Our first clothing ad was with, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, back in 1992. Then we went from Puff Daddy to Pete Rock, CL Mouv, to Big Daddy Kane, to Tupac, to Nas, to Biggie, to Jay-Z, and the list just goes on and on as to all the artists that represented the brand and came through for us in a big time way. If I had to pick one, I would say is probably Aaliyah. I think that she was just such a pure soul, and when I met her, it was just really cool. And she wore my design on her album cover, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which I remember they called my office to get permission to ask me if it was okay for her to wear it. I'm like, you don't have to ask me for permission, but that's just the kind of way it works, And then I was able to meet with her in New York with her mom, and we designed some outfits for her for One in a Million album she came out with. And unfortunately, as we know, she passed away. And we have one iconic photo shoot with her in Brooklyn, and had the World Trade Centers in the background and me and Aaliyah in the picture. So that photo just means so much to me. And she just really, her style, her grace has transcended so much style and fashion. Her style is still relevant in today's market, how she's able to push the limits. And she was such ahead of her time in terms of who she was as a person, in style, music, and everything else. Yeah, I feel like breakdancing and hip hop music played a big role in that. We wanted to be loose, we wanted to be comfortable, and it was really hard to break dance in tight pants. I think a lot of guys probably split their pants open, probably trying to do that. So we wanted to kind of create a style that guys could relate to, and the baggy jeans was kind of like our segue into the market. We created a trend. As you can see now, every top fashion house is emulating the trends that we've created. So, we feel good about what we've done in the past and the ideas that we have going forward as well. And it all goes up to the culture we grew up in. We grew up around in a West Indian neighborhood, a lot of Jamaicans and Trinidadians, and Jamaicans always wore their clothes very baggy back then. So that's kind of what we saw and what we knew and what we felt comfortable in. So it was no second thought to us in terms of fit and stuff like that. We felt comfortable wearing it, and we didn't care what anyone else liked. We made people like what we like. And that's what being a designer is about, is setting trends on your own and don't really worry about other people doing. And if you could accomplish that, that means you must have something good going on for your brand. We opened doors, we inspired everyone to streetwear to get in this business. There's no other streetwear designer that could ever say that, we started streetwear before Karl Kani. It's just not factual. And if anyone was to say that to you, you know what I would tell them? I would say, look around this room. Name another brand that could have every single iconic person wearing one brand within a certain time period of time. It's not like we was on a mission to make this happen. It just happened because it was just the right timing, and it was the right time, right place, right style, right culture. And hip hop needed a clothing designer, and my brand needed hip hop, so it was a good marriage together. People try to combine us and make it seem like we were really competing against each other, but honestly we weren't, because if you think about it, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And how do you control this industry? It's about floor space in the department stores back in those days, because that's a lot of retailers, but this is before online shopping. Everyone's shopping in retail stores. So who owned all the real estate in the stores? It was Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Donna Karan. That's the competition. We had to take away floor space from them. So at the beginning, it was only Karl Kani battling against all these other designers, and we had to find a way to get our stuff in the stores and compete against them. And they didn't want our stuff in the stores. They didn't want us next to them because they felt like we brought a different culture to those stores that they didn't want. So they could try to put us and Sean John and Echo in competition. We're just fighting against each other. That's not really, you gotta keep your eye on the prize. The eye on the prize is who's dominating the floor space, and it's Ralph Lauren, it's the bigger companies like them who's dominating. So that's really what the competition was. Those designers didn't want our brands next to them. They felt like we were bringing in a different culture of streets into the department stores, but the sell-throughs were so powerful that the department stores had no choice but to put us in there. So I think that convincing people and open up the doors was our hardest part, and we had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to do that. But the power of hip hop and street culture is what made that happen. So other designers that came after me, they had it slightly easier than what we had it, because the blueprint was already set, the doors were open. The buyers now were looking for new brands similar to Karl Kani, and we set the tone. We gave you the cut, we gave you the fit, we told you the formula, how to get your stuff popping. We showed you how important it was to get your stuff into hip hop videos. We showed you the association of hip hop and music. We embraced the culture. We did our own fashion shows. When we first started doing fashion shows, all of the models are just regular street dudes who never modeled before. So we gave those guys hope that we could actually become models. Otherwise, Tommy wouldn't have done it, Ralph wouldn't have done it. You know, we've done things and unconventional things no other designer did. So I think we've just set the tone and done things that we just didn't care. We just did what we felt was right to do, and you know, we did what we knew. We related to who we know. Yeah, I think that we try not to follow trends as much, because I felt like, you know, once we follow trends that we won't stay true to the identity of what the brand is about. So there's some trends we probably missed on, but we're okay with that. We know that street culture will always be the same, means fashion has a way of recirculating itself over and over. 20 years later, all the styles that I've done back in the 90s are back now relevant in streetwear. You see it on the runway, you see the inspiration. You know, we did a really good collaboration with Etudes, a brand from France. And what I love about that brand more than any other high-end brand is that Etudes wanted to do street culture type inspired brand, but as opposed to just doing it on their own, they came to the originator streetwear and said, yo, you know what? We know streetwear is happening, but we want to do it with you. So you got to respect that, and that's the way it should be. You should pay homage to who started trends instead of trying to impersonate as if, you know, you're streetwear, because a lot of brands never want to be associated with a lot of streetwear guys anyway. So I give props to Etudes for, you know, doing that, and it was very successful for both of us. We've able to transcend time, that we're able to address two generations of people, that we're able to have children now interested in the same brand that their parents were, which is very difficult. A lot of times you don't find that happening where, you know, you get a parent grew up on a brand, now their kid wants to wear that same brand. But I know the answer to that and why that happened. And one person is a big cause of that situation is my man right here. I have over 175 pictures of Tupac wearing Karl Kani, and it's all organic. No paid advertisement. I never gave him the clothing. He just wore it because he wore it. And I don't know if you know, there's, you know when Tupac got shot in New York at Quad Studio, and he did his first interview for Vibe magazine. They asked him, how'd you know you got shot? How'd you feel? He said, I didn't know I got shot. He said, but I could feel the heat of the bullet pierced through my Karl Kani drawers. If that doesn't say everything, then nothing else means anything but that.
Là, il faut absolument que je le dise. Aaliyah, elle est en train de bouillir de rage dans sa tombe. Quand elle voit Aaliyah et elle, je pense que Aaliyah, là, tout de suite, elle dit c'est pas possible, vous pouvez pas me faire un truc. Il n'y a pas mieux dehors, là.
Non, non. C'est pas très gros, tu ressembles pas du tout à P.
Mais non, mais je ressemble à Tupac.
Non.
Si.
Non.
Ah si. Les gens le voient, il n'y a pas...
What do you say? Mouv Radio, Hip Hop Nation.